If there's anywhere that you should be selling every day, it's in your Instagram stories. Does that mean every single story is a sales slide? No. This is where you want to really show the power, the meaning of what you provide, and within that, encourage people to take a step. Being limitless is knowing your success and your growth are built on a radical belief in yourself. Limitless is honoring your purpose, your health, and impact above all else. Limitless is never playing small, because the more alive you feel in your life, the more growth and success you attract. Hi, my name is Jamie Ratterman, and I am a holistic business coach, meaning I am just as invested in growing your health as I am in growing your wealth. With 11 plus years in brand and social media marketing, I help rebellious entrepreneurs master marketing, embody leadership, and say fuck it to the hustle. This show is here to encourage you to become more radically aware of your self-imposed limits, to break free of your shoulds, and to expand your brand into a movement led by you. Hello, lovelies. Welcome to another episode of the Limitless Podcast. If you can hear, my voice sounds a little bit different. I'm like 3 weeks away from my wedding at the time of this recording. So your girl is so focused, getting in on what she needs. And part of that is how I think about where I need to spend my attention when I'm selling programs, when I have very little time, where do I want to be? So you're going to hear me today talk about Instagram stories. I know I get this question a lot, and I'm hoping you'll love this. This is the episode about how you can sell better in your Instagram stories. Now, first, I want you to know that you can sell a complete program just being in your stories. I like to talk about my story of followers as my true community. If you are posting in the feed and those people also are looking at your stories, they are so ingrained. They're ready to know you. They want to be in your world. So the way in which you treat your Instagram stories can be the best way to warm up your followers to become buyers, to become referrals. The best way for them to be able to say, I see you, I know you. Early on, I like to tell my sprinters and my clients to do the hands-free selfie video challenge. Now, this is where you talk to your camera. This is that talk to camera, straight to the camera face, and be able to share what's exciting you, little things in your business, everything in between. But being able to be comfortable talking to your people allows them to feel like they're getting a cup of coffee with you on the day-to-day. So doing that throughout the week can be step one. Today's episode, though, we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to take it up a little further. So I normally like to recommend 5 to 8 stories per day whenever you're deciding to put something up throughout the week. What this does is that it allows someone to, get involved. If you just put up one story, it's very easily forgettable. If you just put up a few, you're really trying to crunch this in. But instead of thinking about a single story, like, oh, okay, I got to put up one story in the morning, one story in the afternoon, one story in the evening. Today, I want you to think about story sequences, not just one story, but how 3 to 4 stories can work together. So you're going to hear me bring this important thing that you've probably heard me talk about in other ways. How can you get early buy-in, share the value, and encourage them to take action? So this might sound really familiar. This is a basic formula of hook, value, and CTA. How can I hook my follower or my story viewers to stop and get some buy-in on the topic I'm about to share? Give a value that relates to them or that they're going to be interested in, and encourage them to take action from there. We're going to do a sequence of at least 3 stories. So let me give you some examples of how you might approach this. So if I'm trying to hook someone in, the idea is buy-in. How can I get someone to buy into what I'm sharing? The best way, in my opinion, to do this is to engage them with a poll, a sliding scale, or a quiz. All 3 of those end up having someone stop and be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to be involved. So a couple of examples might look like, hey, I'm about to do a video shoot today. Would you like to come along? Or what do you think of my video shoot outfits? Or do you want to hear the story about how me and my partner met? Or think about a client challenge potentially. Do you have trouble making time for yourself? Or how often do you go to the gym every week? All of these are simple asks that you can give some answers to, that will allow someone to go, oh, wait, I'm intrigued by this. Like, I love, like, okay, she must be sharing something that I would be interested in. Hooks are also fantastic in places like your subject line of your email, in the top of your caption, in the first 3 seconds of a reel video. This is your ability to learn how to get that early buy-in, to get people to go like, oh, this information is for me, or I'm interested in it. That's going to allow you to, one, get more views, but of course get those engaged viewers of whatever you are putting up. So the two approaches you can kind of take with this is this easy behind the scenes approach where you want to say, want to follow along with me. But a business-oriented one might be where you ask them to rate themselves on how well they're doing with a key solution that you provide. So whether that's how might you rate yourself when it comes to meal prep, or how might you rate yourself with how consistently you show up online, or how might you rate yourself with how much money you're bringing in, how might you rate yourself with self-care. All of this can help you gauge who's looking for support in this, who's going to be the right one. A second way to hook somebody in is using DM or testimonial crops. Now, this looks like being able to take a screenshot if you're having strong DM conversations, strong comments from your feed. This also can look like what's happening inside your programs and what kind of testimonials you're getting on your products. But your ability to, one, save those is a wonderful informal way of showing how it feels for someone to take a step further into your business. And it gets to be easy, right? I'm telling you to take a screenshot and put it up on a story. It doesn't have to be these Canva graphics or these big announcement pieces. It's just knowing that the more you can collect those, the better you are. So having those DM and testimonial crops can be a part of it, but whatever is said in that DM, be like, would you like this? Would you be interested in learning more about how we got her here? So let's say the testimonial is saying, I've never felt more confident in an interview process. So let's around a career coach, and your response be like, do you want to hear about how I got her here? So this is you showing social proof before you even give the value. So first two ways you can hook somebody in: those polls, those sliding scales, that quiz, and or adding a DM and a testimonial crop to just re-solidify your social proof. So that's how we're hooking someone in. So if they said yes, if they responded to your quiz, or if they even looked at the answers like, okay, I have an interest, even if they didn't click on it, they're going to be more likely, according to data, as well as just thinking about it here, they're going to be more likely to sit through whatever you have coming next. They're not going to triple tap and move through your story so fast. So a value-driven middle story can be, in my opinion, two different things. You can do a text story, or you can do a talk to camera storytelling. Now, whichever one you decide to choose, let's say you're not in the mood to be on camera that day, you can do that text post where you give 4 to 6 sentences, or like, here's the 3 tips of how she got confident in that interview. Here's the your 3-point checklist of how to make sure you get your meal prep done in 20 minutes or less this week. Like, you can do small things so that people can hold, screenshot, and be able to do that. But you can also do that talk to camera storytelling. So let's say you're talking to camera and you're simply saying, this is what happened with a client today. Or you can talk about, here's how I set myself up for consistent weeks, or here's how I get my best energy in the morning. You're going to talk to camera as if you're speaking to a friend, as if you're telling them how this works. So you want it to feel relaxed. It doesn't have to feel scripted. If you haven't done this before, there's nothing wrong with being scripted. But I'm telling you, the more that you can talk to camera, sharing your face, looking at the lens, the easier this is going to get. So this value-driven middle story, think about sharing a how-to, giving some backstory to whatever the first client win was, a personal anecdote or a personal habit that might be helpful. Or you can decide to get on a soapbox and give a pep talk. Give an absolute pep talk. Sometimes I will be leaving a client meeting and I'll immediately think to myself, well, how can I how can I share some of the blocks that are coming up here that's going to help somebody else? So I like to call those dynamic downloads. So being able to know that you can use this in many contexts. Finally, you're going to finish this 3-story sequence with a CTA of some kind. Now, I would say CTAs come in 3 forms when it comes to Instagram stories. Have them click a link, encourage them to DM you, or do a question box slide. So the question boxes usually are a bigger ask, usually, because you're asking them to type in full text, and that in general like takes a little bit more thought. So if you're wanting to get specific insight from them, the question box can be a little bit of a larger ask. But that third slide can also be, a sales, like a breakdown of your program that you just talked about a little bit in the previous slide, and an encouragement to DM you if they're interested. I would definitely tell you that when it comes to the link clicks, Instagram does not want people to walk out of their app on a regular basis. So this is my encouragement for you to not overuse that as a CTA. So thinking about how you might want to use the DMs a little more often. You might want to use the question box more often, and then use that link click a little more sparingly, knowing that people know to go to your link in bio. So think about how you can warm them up with this hook, be able to like, this story sequence is for you if you're interested in seeing my video shoot today, you're interested in learning my tips around interviews, you want to learn more about my process with content planning. The middle is that text post or that storytelling around how you create the results of an offer, how like what you did to prepare for your video shoot, whatever kind of insight you want to get, those tips, those stories, that relatability factor. And the last piece, that CTA is going to encourage them to take a step, whether that's a question, whether that's a DM, or whether that's a link click, so that they move through. So what I want you to consider this 3-story approach. This can be 4 stories. I would tell you not to go too lengthy here, but you can hear within this that it's going to allow you to sell. It's going to allow you to use what's happening in your day-to-day and have a very focused, pointed effort to sell on a regular basis in your stories. If there's anywhere that you should be selling every day, it's in your Instagram stories. Does that mean every single story is a sales slide? No. This is where you want to really show the power, the meaning of what you provide, and within that, encourage people to take a step. In Marketing Mastery, I provide an entire weekly ritual of what it can look like to sell in your stories, because I know the power of this. I have had a successful launch, and I posted every single day in my stories, and maybe once to twice in my feed a week. This was a little while ago, I can tell you that much, but I can tell you that I saw the power of stories. I saw the power of what it was, that if I regularly checked in with my people, talking to cameras, sharing insights, the more they were intrigued about what was happening inside. So this is you leaning into the fact that you get to check in with this community that you're building through your feed somewhere else. But use these story sequences instead of thinking about one story at a time, how you can use this three story approach to really get the engagement you're looking for. If you are looking to consider how you can just up-level everything you're doing online, making sure when you're posting content that it turns into sales for you, I want you to consider Marketing Mastery. We are starting our next round at the end of October, and I would love to invite you in. This little tidbit of what I just shared with you is a very small piece of how my Marketing Mastery clients are supported to be able to build an offer suite that they can't wait to talk about, as well as be able to have the mindset to know that they are worthy and deserve to sell every single day. And then finally, of course, being able to be as visible as possible, putting stuff up online. So if you're interested, of course, this is in the show notes for you, that you can come on in and join us. And if you have any questions, just like I said at the beginning, during the episode, DM me over on Instagram at Jamie Ratterman. So JamieRattermann. If any of this is interesting and you want to be able to learn how you can apply it and personalize it to your business. Until next time, live a little more limitless.